Welcome back, everybody. A lack of available mental health resources is being blamed for such a wide range of problems in our society right now, from mass shootings to violent policing outcomes to children falling behind during the pandemic. And to talk with me more about all of this is Eric Doa, President and CEO of the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Rhonda. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's first talk about this facility and the programs that it offers.
Okay, excellent. Well, June 22nd, we will be breaking ground on our new care center, which is our crisis center. Just as you said, the pandemic has exacerbated a lot that has always been there. But one thing that we've realized is the fact that in Wayne County, we don't really have a crisis facility. I mean, we have, great providers who we've been able to work with, to be able to provide crisis services, but to have a facility of our own here for our citizens of 1.6 million people is such a big deal. And when you think of all the folks who can take advantage of that particular resource, we are certainly happy and glad that we can do so at this particular time in Wayne County.
Can you give us an example when we say a crisis facility? So what situations could be going on with someone that they would end up there or be recommended to go there?
Oh, what a wonderful question. Look, we all have, for example, urgent care centers within our different communities. And we do because we figure that one day, one of us, myself, will be in that kitchen cooking and we're bound to cut ourselves or something may happen. That may not require us to go to the emergency department, but will require some type of assistance. So when you think of mental health crisis, think about those impactful times that you come upon, whether it's the loss of a loved one or something that just completely shakes your foundation and you just need someone to talk to, someone to connect with. And many times we find that our families take our family members perhaps to the emergency department, or sometimes when they are just at their wits' end, they call law enforcement and then police come in. And the next thing you know, these persons are taken, our family members are taken, to jail or sometimes back to the emergency departments. Those places, the great work that they do, they're not equipped to perform crisis services. And so having this resource in Wayne County will definitely alleviate, some of those pressure points that those organizations, our hospitals and our law enforcement partners face on a daily basis.
I mean, I've heard certainly from individuals that know people that have taken someone in crisis to an emergency department like this with a mental issue where they're like, there's nothing we can do. So this obviously is going to be very impactful to the citizens in Wayne County. One of the things that we hear a lot with this problem with mass shootings as our country is this correlation being made that it's a mental health issue that is causing this. What are your thoughts about that? Do you appreciate that there's more awareness about mental health, or is it kind of a scapegoat and that's not really the issue?
Look, I tend to lean more towards the former. And I think, if we're being realistic here and we look at the crimes that happen each and every day, gun violence, those violence and violent crimes are not perpetrated by folks with many of them with mental health challenges. I mean, I'm a former prosecutor from the county level all the way to the federal level, and I can tell you what I face each and every day in those courtrooms. Nevertheless, though, we do have folks who have mental health challenges, and I think with what exists right now in terms of accessibility that folks have to weapons, accessibility that folks have to certain firearms, they shouldn't be able to so freely get those firearms. And so I think we need to look at this from a number of perspectives and not make this a blame game, but rather get folks at the table to figure out what we can do as a community to keep our children safe, especially when you consider the fact, Rhonda, we're talking about our kids going to what we used to consider one of the safest places, which is our schools. And so I think, for us to play that blame game truly is just kicking that can down the road. road. And I think with all of the smart people that we have, we can certainly get together and do a whole lot more, to come up with some great solutions to deal with gun violence.
Well, you certainly have a unique perspective being a former county prosecutor and in the federal environment as well. Do you think right now we are dealing with more mental health problems, more people dealing with mental health challenges, or is there just more awareness?
I think it's more of an awareness that exists, but let's not forget the importance that COVID has played in certainly changing our perspective and how we view things. I mean, look, for some 2+ years, Rhonda, we weren't connecting with each other the way we were used to. Our kids were learning remotely. Some of our kids didn't even have access to resources. Some of our kids didn't even have access, to technology. And so you exacerbate that with, a health system that certainly has disparity within there. You are now adding to problems that have already existed. And let's not forget some economic conditions that have also played an important role too. Housing, transportation, these are all things that sometimes get folks so frustrated. And when those things build up and you have, whether they're mass shootings, whether they are, things that are happening within our society, within our communities, it just becomes more apparent. And let's not forget too, when you have prominent athletes, folks who we look upon as being untouchable and so great, Naomi Okazaki, for example, talking about her mental health challenges, it brings to light that folks are not alone, that there are people who we have come to see bigger than life, who experience these challenges as well.
Naomi Osaka and many other professional athletes and actors talking about dealing with anxiety and other mental health challenges has certainly raised a spotlight, and important because it enables people to seek help where maybe they would not have otherwise. So congratulations on the groundbreaking that's coming up a little bit later this month for the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network. And thank you so much for joining me, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.